Hi, you are watching a pre-recorded technical assistance training for the Community Assessment Planning and Action Process, Phase 3 Strategy Design. This session is about how to refine and add measures. This session was recorded in April of 2025. The purpose of today's session is to continue preparing staff to complete the Fiscal 26 AOK Initiative Work Plan, work with local networks to refine their objectives, approaches, action steps, and write projected measures by initiative for the fiscal year 2026, which starts July 1st, 2025 and ends June 30th, 2026. When is this due? The Fiscal 26 Initiative Work Plans should be submitted to the state team between May 31st and June 15th of 2025. Local teams can expect approvals within 2 to 3 weeks depending on when those plans are submitted by each network. The range is to accommodate real-life busyness in the spring. So earlier in April, we talked about why we add and refine measures. In this session, we will walk through how to add and refine those measures. So what are the essential tools? Well, we have the Fiscal 26 AOK Initiative Work Plan template. This hyperlink will take you to that folder. It's available as an Excel document and also as a Word document. In the Excel document, column A will have definitions, instructions, and formulas included to help you complete your plan. In the Word document, those same instructions, definitions, and formulas are included in the comments. We've also created meeting plans, have key terms, key questions, definitions, coaching, and more to help you out. If you click on the link here in the AOK box folder, you'll find the meeting plans for this step. What are the basic steps to prepare for this partner meeting? The first thing you want to do is to complete the Fiscal 26 Initiative Work Plans following the instructions and the formulas that are provided for you. You might consider drafting numeric values for any of those projected measures. You can bring those to the meeting for your partners to react to or reflect on. The main thing is that you want to complete these plans and bring them to the meeting, make them available for your partners to see. Consider, as a second step, how to set up the context for this meeting. You want to be able to answer the question, why are we building this plan together? Well, there's many creative ways to use stories to connect our values of collaborative planning and implementation. The slide that I have here has a clip from the song Crowded Table by Highwomen. The clip that I have selected talks about planting seeds and building a garden together and growing together to make change. So the idea is that we can't do this work alone. And the other stories that you could share might be The Little Red Hen or Stone Soup. So links to both of those are included in the meeting plan guidance. I would also consider printing out the developmental pathway and the targeted vision or problem to help guide the work and your partners with a North Star that keeps our eye on our vision for change. I would also prepare how you want to present material to your partners. Be clear about what you need from them by the end of the meeting. You're looking for approval, agreement, commitment, and suggestions. Make sure to recap what's happened so far and reshare draft objectives, approaches, and any action steps. You'll decide how you want to customize the meeting. Remember to look at those variations and customization options in the meeting guidance. Also decide how you would like to gather insights to refine the work plan. How are you going to collect that feedback? How will you get those suggestions? If people would like to share gaps or blind spots, how might you do that? Will it be in a focused conversation? Will it be done virtually with sticky notes, using Canvas, using Sticky Studio, using Google Slides? Make sure that you make a plan and think through it. Your partners might want to edit the documents in real time. You can work in small groups, you can work in large groups, you can work by initiative or by objective. But remember, the goal is to move forward with a final draft plan with your approaches that partners agree to be the AOK network's focus for the next year. Keep in mind that the state team will review all of the plans and may make suggested edits as needed. So we will call these plans our final draft because the state team will be finalizing those plans. Also make a decision to prepare for this partner meeting by thinking through what you'd like to be the next steps. The group may prefer the local staff team to refine the rest of the fiscal 26 initiative work plans on their own. The network partners may want to work in smaller groups to wrap up the plans. Either way, communicate that to partners and make sure that everyone understands that building a shared agenda for implementation is next. That means working together to implement the plans together. No later than June 15th, all AOK networks will complete and submit their final draft fiscal 26 initiative work plans. The state team reviews and approves final plans before implementation begins. The steps to complete the plans are broken into these smaller steps. Remember, the desired result of each step is for each initiative work plan to be completed with at least 2 measurable objectives, at least 2 complete measurable approaches. You want to have projected measurable outputs and outcomes and a series of sequential action steps that are essential to accomplishing the approach. Those should be listed by quarter and assigned an owner. By the end of this work, our goal is to have most partners understanding each objective, approach, and action step, affirm their roles and responsibilities, and agree to the projected measurable outputs and outcomes. You can see that this is how we achieve our overall results. So we have our action steps. In order to meet our approaches, we carry out our action steps. In order to meet our objectives, we carry out our approaches. Those approaches will result in outputs, a product or reach, and probably an outcome, which is a change in behavior and usually a longer-term impact. Action steps, approaches, and those outputs and outcomes contribute to our objectives. Those are the midterm change, our system level change, where we are addressing those system issues that are contributing to the targeted problem. If we can address those objectives, then the overall result is our long-term expected result that reaches our targeted problem. So let's talk cake. Okay, this is a nice visual to help us get our head around all of these terms of measures. So we don't really use inputs on our plans, but those are things that we use and we contribute to make our things happen. In this example here, if you're making a cake, your inputs would be the ingredients, utensils, a recipe. If I'm working on a project, that's the money, staff, resources, time. Activities, in our case, these are like our action steps. We're measuring, mixing, baking, icing, slicing, or delivering counseling sessions, which create outputs. I've created a cake for 10 people, or 10 people have received counseling, which results in outcomes. 10 people are happy or full. 10 people are confident, happy, or healthy. So we use a word called indicators, and indicators indicate or identify what is being measured to indicate or track success. An indicator is observable and measurable. AOK networks use 2 different types of indicators to show expected progress towards their objective or approach. We have output indicators, how much of something, how many, how often. So in our example on the screen, how much cake? Cake for 10 people. How many people got counseling? 10 people received counseling. We also use outcome indicators. What are the results or the impacts? 10 people are happy. 10 people are confident, happy, or healthy. Output is the thing that is produced from our daily activities. It is easy to measure and track. What did we do? Did we do it or did we not? Did I make a chocolate cake or did I not? An outcome is the behavior that changes. A happy person. A person is happier. What was or is the behavior change, or so what, from that output? Did more people leave my meeting feeling joyful? The outcome potentially happens after the output is complete. We expect some change as a result. Did we make a positive change? Think change in user behavior. Chocolate cake might not be the output that brings joy. Maybe it's pudding. It's harder to measure. It can be subjective. It's still very important. The video on the next slide will help us understand why. Remember, our long-term impacts are also called overall results for AOK networks. This video is really easy to follow. I highly recommend that you click on the link and pause this video that I'm recording right now and actually go over to YouTube and watch this video here about outputs versus outcomes. I tried to include it in our recording and it would not allow me to, which is okay, because you can access it on your own. I highly recommend. It's short. You can watch about 4 minutes of it, but he gives a visual and really gives a nice definition about the difference between output versus outcomes. After you're done with the video, please do remember to come back. The next section of our training video will be walking through each element that is part of the work plan, including as measured by your formulas for approaches, outcomes, outputs, action steps, plus a few other tips that are going to be really important to help you be very successful in the next meeting that you have as you add and refine your measures. Thanks. Okay, so measures are seen, observed, heard through an interview or read maybe through assessments, surveys, or data reports. We use the phrase as measured by to first understand the impact at the objective level. So this describes how you will know progress or change has happened over time. You want to include the beginning of the year, which is your baseline, what's happening now, the end of the year, and then annually you capture this data over a period of 5 years. The benefit of capturing this data every year is that you can see if your approaches are helping you reach your objective. You may be doing a great job knocking it out of the park. Maybe you complete your objective and you choose a new one. Or maybe you are not getting any results on that objective from your approaches, and so then you pivot. You want to define that baseline again at the beginning of the approach and review the same data source each year and again at the end of the 5-year CAPAP cycle. That'll be great for storytelling. You need to name the data sources that you will use, so be strategic about this. Choose data sources that are available, they're credible, they're easy to find, and remember to look at the meeting guidance on data strategy for more information. Here is an example of as measured by. And what I did is I color-coded this so that you can see that sometimes there's more than one thing to measure. So if my objective reads, by June 30th, 2030, more providers will communicate with each other and families about information and referral, increasing coordination of efforts as a result of these approaches. So as measured by what? Well, more providers. So how many of those providers are communicating with each other about information and referrals now? What are the changes over time? What are the number of providers that are communicating with families about information and referrals, and how might that change over time? Some questions to answer. How many are communicating with each other now? How are they communicating with each other? Can IRIS help us understand change and coordination efforts over time? Some possible data sources include a partner survey of communication habits now, a baseline, and end of year, Iris reports of referrals that are made now, that's your baseline, and again at the end of the year. The next thing that needs to be entered is approaches, and here is the formula. Who will do what, how often, using what tool or resource, and by when. Who assigns ownership? Implementation is much easier when people commit to doing the work. Avoid anything, an approach, an action without ownership. No one will be responsible for getting the work done. So who will do what? That's action-oriented. What is the verb? What is the thing you are going to be doing? Not the result, okay? We want to be clear and concise. Use action verbs to convey purpose and intent. Examples include increase, increasing, improve, improving, reduce, building, creating, implementing. Note, the improvement or the result is captured as a projected measurable outcome or output. Okay. How often, using what tool or resource? Be intentional. Consider what frequency and resources are needed for the implementation. Tools could mean things like meetings or technology. Resources might be people, budgets, and kind donations. And by when? Be timely and realistic. This will happen by the end of the fiscal year. Define a clear end date for the approach and your action steps. This will keep the work on track for implementation and progress check-ins. So as an example, who, the outreach and engagement work group, will do what? Will launch a revised parent ambassador marketing campaign, communications campaign informed by parent input. How often? Using what tool or resource? By meeting monthly with the family engagement team. By the end of this fiscal year. Outcomes. Here's a formula. So outcomes measure results from the combination of activities and outputs. They are the ultimate effect or so what of your approaches. Here's the formula for each projected measurable outcome. As a result of these efforts, we expect the number or percentage of who to change what from A, or this, of what to B by the end of this fiscal year. As a result of these efforts, we expect the number of partners screening children to increase from 25 to 50 by the end of the fiscal year. As a result of these efforts, we expect the number of screened children connected to services to increase from 125 to 250 by the end of this fiscal year. As a result of these efforts, we expect the number of AOK network members completing the Early Childhood QRIS training series from 0 to 15 by the end of the fiscal year. We expect that number to increase. Here are some more examples. As a result of these efforts, we expect the number of parent ambassadors participating in decision-making to increase. And what I want to highlight on this slide is we're showing what we want to be different. And I think this helps to differentiate between an outcome and an output. So we want something to grow, we want something to change, so to increase, to decrease. But what is it that we want to change? We want participation to change, sharing of information to change, people leaving the network to change. So keep an eye out for the ing, okay? The verb is an action verb. Pay attention, and that might help you differentiate between an outcome and an output. Okay, again, you're asked to enter as measured by. This is written at the objective level. This describes how you will know progress or change has happened over time. This includes a beginning of the year, a baseline, or an end of the year, and then again, as we said, annually over 5 years. You define that baseline at the beginning of the approach and review that same data source each year and again at the end of the 5-year CAPAP cycle. So name the data source to be used again. Choose data sources that are available, credible, and easy to find. Those measures should be seen, heard, or read. And again, look at the documentation for extra information. Outputs. Outputs are the product or reach that result from your approaches. That could be a product, anything tangible created as the approach is implemented. Things, okay, stuff, palm cards, flyers, emails, reach. That would be who, where, how many people or settings are reached as the approach is implemented. How many people got my cake, for example? How many cakes did I create? How many people came to my meetings as a result of the chocolate cakes that I created? So one thing to keep in mind is that projected measurable outputs are a number. They're numeric. It could be a number or a percentage of something. And they're written in the past tense as if they have been accomplished. And we have a formula for you. So who or what did what? A number of who or what this fiscal year. Sounds kind of funny, but it makes sense when you see it in these examples. So who, the work group, did what? We reviewed what number? 50 outreach materials from 10 organizations this fiscal year. The work group created a 6-part QRIS training series this fiscal year. The work group created 800 French Creole Early Childhood System palm cards this fiscal year. 9 parent ambassadors distributed 100 palm cards this fiscal year. AOK network partners hosted 8 screening events in the targeted zip codes this fiscal year. One thing that you might notice is different than in the past is there's a who included in the formula. I'm a big fan of including who because that helps us be accountable. If I just said 50 outreach materials reviewed, who is reviewing those? 6-part QRIS training series created, who created that series? So this helps us be clear and specific and detailed and accountable. All right, our action steps follow the same formula that you saw for the approaches, and it does the same thing. Who assigns ownership. Remember that implementation is made easier when people commit to doing the work. Avoid actions without ownership. I'll say it again. No one will be responsible for getting the work done. Think the little red hen. Not I, said the cat. Not I, said the dog. Not I, said the mouse. Who will do what, how often, using what tool or resource, by when. So the difference with the action steps and the approaches is that by when. So you'll be timely, you'll be realistic, you want to have a clear end date for your action steps, and this will be in quarter 1, summertime, quarter 2, in the fall, quarter 3, in the winter, or quarter 4, in the spring. We've included a whole bunch of questions for you to choose from. When you have your meeting with your partners, you want to choose from those questions. You can print out the whole 2 pages and let the groups look at those questions. Here's a sample right here. You're going to ask your partners to read the objective and just confirm, what can we get ourselves to do? How many partners? As measured by? As measured by what? How will we know something has changed? What is the data source to measure this change? Read the approach. Who will do this? How many? And so on. So what's nice about having these questions here and sharing them with your partners, one of the purposes of doing this add and refine measures with your partners is that they're helping you complete your work plans. They're double checking and cross-referencing your work with a series of questions, the same questions that the state team will be using to double check and cross-reference your work as well. Okay, so in your meeting guidance, remember there's key questions. You can hand those out. You can choose from the lists below. In that handout, there's also post-meeting actions as always, which includes sending a follow-up email to your partners with meeting highlights, thanking them, uploading the draft, and so forth. And last but not least is that included in our post-meeting actions this time will actually be a checklist that you can review to double check your own fiscal year 26 initiative work plans before you submit them. That'll be the same checklist that we'll be using. Quicker turnaround. So we're empowering you, we're making the expectations clear so that you can see what's expected, you can double check your work, and we can check it again so that you can be ready to go as early as July 1st. So what am I getting at? Read that meeting guidance. The link is included here. You'll find expectations, variations, definitions, background context, a meeting agenda, meeting prep list, talking points, key questions, a checklist to help you wrap up your initiative work plans. Everything is there for you. If you skip reading this document, you're going to be confused. It will make your life easier. It will make your meeting easier. It'll make it easier for you to complete your work plans. And last but not least, to really help you complete your work plans, putting together some videos. I'll add that link, and then you can watch some technical assistance videos to help you enter the data in your initiative. One of the things is that we want to have kind of a wrap-up message, and so I'm going to read a wrap-up message that I put together. We are putting together a vision for the future of children and families in our community. We worked so hard to identify the issues that were not going so well. Then we looked at the blocks and obstacles in the system that are contributing to the targeted problem outcomes. We collaborated to create ideas, strategies, and action steps. And today, we paused to make it all real. So congratulations to us all. We are on the road to implementation. Next up is creating a shared agenda to bring this all to life. We will finalize our draft. Partners, please join us in a small ad hoc group if you'd like to help. We will submit the final draft to the state team for review and final approval. As always, thank you for your time, your energy, and your commitment to the kids and families of our AOK network. Together, we will make a difference. So I pass that same message on to you with these last tips. Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. These plans are work in progress. The key to success in setting and adding and refining your measures is to set bold and realistic goals, achieve most of them, pause to reflect on the achievement, and then repeat the cycle. So we learn by doing, and we learn by reflecting on the experience. So be brave, be realistic, and have fun. Thank you very much.